fiscal year end.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. There are POS operators. She said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the people.
All right, welcome back to Open Conversation, everyone. Like I told you before we took the break, we have the Constitution man himself, and that's Barrister Sim Adams. It's an honor to host you on the show today, sir. Thank you. Awesome. Now, let's take off from River State. Now, a group of elders say River State Elders and Leaders Forum has faulted the presidential peace proclamation by President Bola Tinubu and warring political factions of River State, saying the directives from the president, referring to the peace pact, are against the Nigerian constitution and the rule of law. The elders, in two separate letters, open letters, if you made to Governor Simlaye Fubara and the elders, in two separate letters, to President Tinubu and Governor Simlaye Fubara, raised several concerns about the 8-point directive, where they argued that the president does not have the powers to give directive to a democratically elected governor or impose his will on the state. Speaking on behalf of the 15 prominent Rivers leaders who signed the letter, the former governor of the state, Rufus George, in a statement yesterday, said the letter faulting the entire 8-point directive. That said, George, who lauded the president for heeding their call to wade into the crisis rocking the state, also noted that they are at a crossroad to whether Tinubu's intervention has helped in quelling the crisis or escalated it. And he insisted that the peace pact is in favor of the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Chief Barrister Ezewoye Sumwike, and to the detriment of Governor Simlaye Fubara, as well as the interests of the generality of Rivers people. He said the 8-point resolution asks for the reinstatement of commissioners who willfully resigned, the 27 former legislators who, in all clear conscience and by legal implication, jumped ship and got themselves dismissed from the affairs of the State Assembly, are also to be reinstated and remunerated. Is that this marks of a sense of political irresponsibility, lack of sensitivity to the laws of the land and due process. The former governor said, given the foregoing, it is obviously evident that Fubara, who is the chief executive officer of the state, was coerced into submitting to your premeditated action plan, even when it is well known that the president does not possess such powers to give directives to a democratically elected governor or impose his will on the state. I said, as far as we are concerned, that meeting did not hold, and those directives are not implementable, because to do so will be acting against the Constitution and the rule of law. Also, while reacting to Fubara's statewide broadcast on Monday, on Christmas Day, in which he emphasized that the presidential peace proclamation is not as bad as portrayed. The judge pointed out that the proclamation is a death sentence because it breaches all legal and constitutional rights Fubara swore to protect. The judge further noted that the governor has no constitutional or any other legal power to implement the directive. All right, seems like we are at a crossroad in Rivers State right now, because on one hand, the governor is saying, I don't see, first of all, he said, his first statement after the whole meeting, you may, is that there's no price too high or too costly for him to pay for the peace of Rivers State. And now he's saying, on his Christmas Day message, I don't really see anything wrong in implementing those 8-point part. Now, a lot of us who don't know Simlaye Fubara very well will think that probably he's just being a submissive. He's a political show, let me just use that word. But looking at his body language, there seemed to be someone who seemed to be just speaking or playing to the gallery for the sake of it. Otherwise, do you clearly see Sir Simlaye Fubara, the governor of Rivers, the executive governor of Rivers State, being an actual submissive to the point that knowing he has the constitutional power, knowing that he has all it takes to stand his ground and say no to whatever that was, knowing that he has the full backing of Rivers people, will go ahead to implement this, even though he has been told by lawyers it is not legal. And Rivers people, you saw the crowd of the young people who opposed it, who protested in front of the gate saying, you're not doing that. What do you think is playing out?
Yeah, thank you.
Is it the fear of the Supreme Court ruling?
You know, thank you very much. See, this matter has taken a lot of dimension. I am sure that when the matter started some time ago, many of us never thought that it was going to take this kind of, dimension that we are witnessing right now. In my own candid opinion, if I'm to talk about the letter written by the elders, I think first of all, I have to recriminate the elders, so-called. In my place where I come from, they said that elders cannot be at home and a goat on teethers give birth. An elder cannot be in a house, talk, I don't know, with what they discussed with him. Then these elders that are coming up, the nascent elders that we have right now, I don't know if they traveled out of Rivers State before, or they were bedridden, that they could not rise up to the occasion as at that time and speak on this issue. One of the signatories to this particular letter today confirmed and confessed that he was one of those who called on the president, Tinubu, to intervene in this crisis, using the word father of the nation. That is the word he used. I will not call his name, but his name is already in print. Even the letter that he wrote, he confirmed it, that they called on the president to intervene in this matter. When the president now intervened, the president has to treat it the way he likes, or the way he deemed fit. And you now come back and you start complaining. Chinua Achebe said in his book Things Fall Apart or so, that where two brothers are at war with each other, if they are not very careful, a stranger will come into their midst and take over their place and their fatherland or their houses. I think that is what is almost playing out in Rivers State today. Now, they have the right to say that the president does not have the constitutional right. Of course, we know that the president may not have the constitutional rights, but there is nowhere also in the Constitution that says the president cannot intervene in a matter of this magnitude, it is as the case may be.
But as I see, madam,
Yes.
there is a clear difference between intervention and interference.
Yes.
One of the words used in some of the letters and the conversation that's been playing out is, we asked President Tinubu to intervene, mediate.
Yes.
He has interfered. Knowing what the Constitution said about the ongoing imbroglio between the governor and his predecessor and the assembly members, having people, he knows, he's been a lawmaker. He used to be Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Knowing fully well what the Constitution is, being the grand norm, and going against it to give directives that are anti the grand norm being the Constitution. Can you call that intervention still in reference to what one of the elders or some of them did? Requested for?
Okay, will you not call what you have asked me according to the elders? Different between intervention and interference. We brought the matter to him to intervene, but he has made his own resolution, or maybe intervened or mediated, and we are not happy about it. Is that not a fallacy of equivocation? The question I'm asking the elders, when you knew, did you not know that this man does not have the powers under our constitution before you took this, or you called on him to whether intervene or interfere, or to able bring the matter before him to mediate? We have chartered mediators and arbitrators all over Nigeria. Their duty is to mediate to matters of this nature, maybe call the parties and resolve issues between them as the case may be. Why did the elders not call on the PDP? That is, they look at the minister of PDP, the governor is PDP, all the members of the House of Assembly are all members of the PDP. Why the elders that are even talking, 90% of them are PDP members. Why did they not call on the party hierarchy as it has been before, that they have to intervene? I remember in those days when Obasanjo was in power, that is where the acronym or whatever they call it, that the aphorism, family affair, came into our political lexicon in Nigeria. That is, when you have issues of this nature, the party will immediately set up a committee that will urgently go there, go into the matter, delve into it, try and mediate and do arbitration, and where any of them does not confirm what has been said by the party, they find him or they ostracize him as the case may be. Where this lacuna was created, the elders felt that a man whom is the president is the best position to resolve this matter. For me, that was even the foundational mistake. Why would the others beckon on the president? Are they not aware of the antecedent and the pedigree between the president and Yesowike in Abuja, that they are very close? That the president openly told the world that Yesowike is not just his advisor and a minister in his cabinet, but is confidante. Are the others not aware? Or was it, am I the only one that heard the president, use such words to describe Yesowike, that you now know that if you take a matter that involves Wike before the president, that the president he must be biased. If that is the way you look at it. That is the way I see it. So, but when you know that these conditions precedent were prevailing, you still went ahead to call on that same man, to say, go help us solve this problem. But in fact, is it not and you are finally saying he does not have the powers in the constitution.
But if we were to look at this from the angle of, we're talking about the president, Mr. President.
Yes.
Number one citizen of this country, the
yes.
president of Nigeria. And we are talking about millions of people that make up Rivers State natives and residents.
Yes.
So it's saying, okay, if we take it from the angle now that before they went to the president to intervene, they ought to also know that, that's his man, that's his boy.
That is what I'm saying.
Because his boy, so you don't expect him to
to be impartial.
But where then does he fall in as president of Nigeria? Where then does he fall in as the chief custodian of the laws of this land? Are we supposed to now look at the president from the biased perspective when he says something that has to do with anywhere that he seems to have caught loyalists?
You see,
if that is the case, where does democracy come in here?
Nigeria does not practice democracy. We practice a blend of democracy and a blend of, monarchy. That you see, most governors behave like emperors. The president behaves like the Baale or the Oba of Nigeria. Most of them go out and forget that they were elected to power. Once they get to that particular seat, they are domineering. They want to behave like autocratic, masters. It did not start with Tinubu. We remember that in this country here in Nigeria, when Obasanjo was in power, we saw power by APC, a political party. That particular goat will not touch the yam, except the goat's mouth is gagged or muzzled, as the case may be. Even when the goat's mouth is gagged or muzzled, intuitively the goat will use that muzzled mouth to scatter that particular yam because he wants to have a feel of it. So when you bring a matter as juicy as this to the president, and the president has been with the other party, as the case may be, describing him as a confidante and his very good friend, what do you expect to happen?
So now that they have written these letters to the governor of the states,
yes,
the youth have also warned. According to the part of the statement, said implementing those 8-point agenda,
yes,
is tantamount to going against the law. If you look at this call challenging the 8-point agenda, the gallery, with the statement, he doesn't see anything wrong in all of that. How much do you think this push by Rivers took now?
Yes.
How exactly are these steps going?
Parties who went there, or those who attended,
the elders are saying, sir, that Fubara is being coerced into.
See, I have read that thing. That thing to me is badadash. Why am I saying that?
Why? What case?
Good. A man went, you see, when this news broke, agreement, you understand? Until I said, let me wait to see whether there's going to be an official statement from the Rivers State government and the governor. You understand? Until one day I saw the Commissioner of Information come out to say the signature on top of that document is saying Fubara's signature. I say, wow. You understand? That it is his authentic signature. And I said, okay, no problem. Let me find out. Maybe he will come and deny that, or maybe recant later. Before I knew what was going on, some days ago, the governor came and said that he can do anything for peace to reign in Rivers State. That he signs that particular document, as the case may be.
Here is what makes his statement contrary. We're talking about the implementation now. After they came back from the peace accord signing, one of the 8-point agenda said withdrawal of all cases against the governor or against the lawmakers. The lawmaker's lawyer got to court and did as was told.
Yes.
But the governor's council said that he doesn't have any
that
such
is
directive.
One case at Isiokpo. I'm following this matter very well.
That's one. Another thing he was supposed to have done is to organize the assembly, get the whole house to get back to the full capacity, and then resubmit the 2023 appropriation bill, the 2024 appropriation bill that has been signed into law for the full assembly to consider that. Another is to have Edison Ehe removed as the speaker and several others. The question then is, which amongst all of this is legal?
See, when you talk about legality in Nigeria here,
constitutionally speaking,
the section 109 is clear. Section 109 sub 1G and its proviso is clear under our constitution as it pertains to whosoever defects from his party And the courts also have come in to interpret that particular, section 109 sub 1G and the proviso, ipso facto section 68 sub 1G and its proviso. Section 68 sub 1G affects, National Assembly members, while section 109 sub 1G and the proviso affect, the House of Assembly members of the state. Now, a lot has happened. For instance, in Ebonyi State, when all the people, the House of Assembly members that were elected under the platform of the PDP, under Umahi or something like that before he left power, defected to the All Progressive Congress in that particular state, there was no crisis. You know why? Because the speaker defected alongside with... we don't know. Rivers State right now, anything can happen tomorrow. Just few days ago, during the Christmas period, we were sleeping when the governor woke up and gave us an address that he has already paid the 27 lawmakers who defected their November and December, salaries and benefits.
So he was not owing them then.
So I don't. So what I'm trying to say is that why others are saying these people should not be allowed to go back. The governor who signed that particular pact that we are criticizing today, and we are 48 hours in this crisis. That is what I'm trying to say. Because when this 8 points agenda resolution came, people were against it. Protests were made. I was thinking the government will come out the next day and say, and declare, and say there's a Latin maxim, they said non ex fatum. That is, this is not my. The governor will say, no, I did not. I didn't sign this thing. The third one is coercion that is, he was made to sign this document under duress. None of these three, ingredients will vitiate whatever agreement that he entered into, was espoused or expressed by the governor. He came out to say, I signed it, and for peace to reign, I am going to implement this 8-point agenda, as the case may be. And in the furtherance to implementation, look at what the governor said. He said that pursuant to the fact that the other party withdrew their impeachment notice against him in court at Isiokpo, in good faith and in furtherance of the agreement, I have paid them, their November and December salary. See, my sister, if the governor were to be your elder brother, will you be happy with him to say, oh, but we told you we are fighting for you, we are fighting the cause for you, but you are not listening to us. You have gone now to go and against our wishes to go and do this. So that is the situation.
Let's quickly wrap this up on this note. Now that the people of Rivers State, youth and elders on one side, seem to be fighting for the governor and for the state to ensure that constitutionality is maintained. Somehow, the governor goes behind and is dancing to the tune of those whom the elder said want to kill him. So at this point, should the elders and those who are supporting him keep their hands akimbo and watch the drama unfold?
You know what
Is there any point in hitting up the states?
There's no point.
All of this. If the man who is at the burning furnace says, I don't need help.
That is what I'm saying. You see, the elders you can force a horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink water. That is what is going on now. It means that, in conclusion, who have not created any faction and hold and must sit in that place they are sitting, they quietly go to a different place and sit. Some people have said that those meetings they are holding is legal, but they have done that peacefully and without rancor. They have not gone to where the 4 or 5 of them are sitting and say, today we must sit with people in the same house of assembly. They've not done that. They don't know they are doing so. But who is the person who can say all this whatever now? Is the governor. I wonder why people are not asking the governor, all these questions. Why have the elders not visited the governor to ask him, sir, we are supporting you, but the way you are working.
But the elders have said time without number that they have written both him and it was part of the presentation.
Do you know
both Wiki and Fubara have refused to respond to them.
So, which means they have undermined their positions. You don't need a soothsayer to tell the elders. Because you see, what it is now, in my opinion, the elders will be called meddlesome interlopers.
All right.
Because the parties are not even answering the elders, but elders are forcing themselves. Every day write letters, nobody responds to the letters. So please, I don't know why they are keep hitting up the polity. In Nigeria here, illegalities mostly thrive in government and governance. A lot of things happen. We have seen assembly where about 9 people impeached governor. You know, we have seen assembly where a governor was kept inside a house in Anambra State, arrested until police came to rescue him. So illegalities take place in so many places, in high places. But I don't know why this river say this thing is being heated up as if it's something that is new in Nigeria political firmament, as the case may be. The assembly must have problems, it is as the case may be. Men were snatched, heads were broken in the parliament, as the case may be. Akpako happened. So why is this particular matter different? Everybody is having 27 must not go back. Okay, they are not going back, but the man is helping them and paying their salaries.
Well,
will you keep blaming them?
If this, when all and sundry have said is against the constitution, if you have paid them their December and November and December salary, that is his way of saying, I got you guys on the wrap. Well,
anything can happen in the next 24 hours.
To your tent, O Israel.
Yes.
Let's get into it, those states.
Absolutely.
Pastor Osagie Iyamu on Wednesday declared his interest to contest in the Edo State governorship election come 2024 under the governor, and by November the new governor will be sworn in. That is why our party must do everything possible to everything will be nothing if by next year we are not in government house. He said, when you look at the caliber of people here, you ask, how can APC be in a position? It was a mistake. It was an error, and by the grace of God, it will not repeat itself. He said the election must be won. We did not win that election, not because our party was not on the ground, not because the candidate, but my humble self, was unpopular. We lost that election because our leaders outside the state chose to work against us. That is the truth. Some of our governors chose to work against our party. Somebody told me today, he said, I didn't even know before. One of our APC governors brought money to be given to the deputy governor. Okay, now, so Iyamu is back. And he said he's going to win the election. But do you believe this story of being sabotaged by the party at the national level or from outside?
Yes, a lot of things happened. A lot of untoward things happened during the elections. If you remember vividly, because Nigerians forget very easily, in 2020, when the election was to take place, I was partly in Benin because I was, joining between Benin and Port Harcourt as at that time because of, people I was supporting. And in that particular election, a lot happened. Now, the trouble started just the way it started in Rivers State, though it's a different dimension in coloration, in the sense that a supposed godfather, Adams Oshomole, never wanted his godson, Gordon Obaseki, to have a second tenure at that time. What Obaseki did, was to cry out. And you remember that when Obaseki cried out, a lot of people responded. People that responded, some governors from APC who did not like the face of Oshomole, who was the national chairman. And they felt that Oshomole was the reason why they were not close to the President Buhari and the party was not functioning well. Because they called Oshomole as a dictatorial and autocratic, national leader of APC. That was not fit to become the president or chairman of APC as at that time. I remember vividly people in Rivers State like Rotimi Amechi, worked against Shomole from here, from far, and some other governors in Kogi, Kwara, and all these APC governors at that time, and APC bigwigs worked against Oshomole, and they vowed that Oshomole's candidate will never win. Iyamu. Unless and until Obaseki is giving that return ticket. Now, you know that some few hours to the PDP convention in Benin, that was when Obaseki now had to defect from APC to PDP, to usurp the powers of Ken Imaswagbon, who were the frontliners in PDP, the powers of Ogbede Yama, who were the frontliners in PDP as at that time. So when Obaseki now came, he was a big fish. And people like Dan Obi in Edo State, these are colossus in Edo State, and a very strong member of PDP, you know, who never liked Obaseki gain power by all means. So they now had to enter into terms with Obaseki. If you defer to PDP, this is what you're going to do. And I remember this particular governor, ex-emeritus governor of Rivers State, Yeso Wike, had to relocate from Port Harcourt and went to Benin City to campaign for Obaseki. Obaseki had to temporarily take off his, a hat and his baggage from the government as the Edo State and came to reside in Port Harcourt, while Wike, Dan Obi, and the rest of them were supporting him to win the election. So it is right and true that the party outside of Edo State and governors of APC extraction outside of Edo State colluded with governors of the PDP and other parties and big wigs of the political parties to do what now? To destabilize and torpedo, that ambition of Pastor Osaze Eyamu. Ordinarily, if you look at Osaze Eyamu in this whole mantra, Osaze Eyamu is becoming like the Buhari of Edo State, because before Obaseki came into power, Osaze Eyamu contested, because that was how himself and Oshomole broke up. He contested, he was the leading political figure in ACN and APC. But Oshomole saw him that he would not be loyal, to him if he gives him that ticket and who to replace him as governor of Edo State, that Osaze Eyamu will not be loyal to him. So that was how he now went and went for a Gordon Obaseki. Just the same thing that happened in Rivers State, that the governor emeritus that was leaving felt that he needed somebody that will be loyal to him, that can do his bidding as case may be, and now brought him into power. So that was how Obaseki came. Do you know that Oshomole, Eyamu was Oshomole's campaign manager when Oshomole was doing his first and second term, campaigns in Edo State. They were so close. So he was doing this in the belief that once Oshomole exits, power, when he has done his 8 years, he will now be Eyamu, that he will be the successor. But that never became, because of this political calisthenics, that they had. So that made Osaze Eyamu to now leave APC and went to PDP to contest against a Gordon Obaseki of APC. You understand the point now?
Yeah.
He now contested against Gordon Obaseki, and at the end of the day, Obaseki now won him by power of incumbency. I remember that Osaze Eyamu pulled, a very strong weight. The presidential election that was done that year was won by PDP in Edo State, and Osaze Eyamu, in his own way and character, pulled very strong political weight, challenging Obaseki. That first tenure, Obaseki came. So it's not a write-off, it's not a wave off, as the case may be. So he's a strong titan. I am enjoying what is going on in my state, and I believe that by January, next 2 weeks or thereabout, we'll all be there to join the fray.
Awesome. So we're yet to see Obaseki unveil his candidate of choice. But we all know that Philip Shaibu is on the race in PDP, and Eyamu is out there too. Like Barrister Sims said, it's going to be battle of the titans. So we'll take a quick break, everyone. When we come back, we're going to be come back from the break. We'll be going into Edo State. There is more to catch up in Edo State.
Joy, laughter, and beautiful moments. From all of us in Morrison Communications Limited, Wish 99.5 FM and Atlantic Television Network, we wish you a Merry Christmas full of amazing experiences. Cheers to a beautiful year end.
Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back to Open Conversation, everyone. Let's get into Ondo State. Richard Olatunde, the Chief Press Secretary to the former governor of Ondo State, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, has resigned. The Special Advisor on Union Matters and Special Duties, Dare Aregbaye, has also resigned his appointment. In their letters of resignation addressed to the office of the Secretary to the government on Wednesday, the two aides cited Akeredolu's death as their reason for resignation. Olatunde, in his letter titled Resignation Letter, said, "My decision to resign from office is hinged on the unfortunate and untimely death of our leader, principal, and father figure, Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu." He noted that throughout Akeredolu's tenure as the Chief Press Secretary, he was fortunate to witness firsthand the exceptional qualities of Akeredolu. He said Akeredolu's leadership and dedication to the development of the state ignited within him a drive and passion to serve and contribute his quota to the progress of Ondo State. Aregbaye, in his letter, said his decision to resign is based on the unfortunate death of his principal and fearless and honest leader, Governor Arekunri Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, CON, whom he said, "I am loyal to even to death." Well, he thanked Akeredolu for the opportunity granted to serve in his administration as a mini member of the state's executive council. Now, you recall that Akeredolu had passed on in Germany. Is it Germany or Lagos? At the age of 67. Meanwhile, Ida Tiwa has been sworn in as the governor of the state. The swearing-in took place at the government house Alabaka, Akure, yesterday. There's several stories about where Akeredolu actually died. Some say he died in Lagos, that he wasn't in a position to be flown abroad as at the time when he put in the letter. So this man we're hearing leukemia. But now the state government comes out to say, oh, he died of prostate cancer. That's quite painful and sad. He's a beloved statesman. We'll continue to have our respect and hope that his soul will rest in peace. But now, let's get back to the living. Two of his aides took a vow, according to them, that is to show their loyalty to him even in death. Let's have you react to that.
Proviso under that constitution is that insofar you are choosing all these things, you can choose your friends or whoever you want to choose, but you have to give it a spread. Like in Ondo State now, you don't concentrate in one particular ethnic or tribal lineage. You have to spread it. Or you can choose anybody you like, but provided you spread it. That's what the Constitution, that section 14 sub 3 says, what they call federal character. So coming to this, I was not shocked, because when you see SSAs, senior special assistants, chief press secretaries, PAs, personal assistant, etc. as case may be, these are more or less like the domestic, people, or those who are very close to the the governor. The governor cannot choose a CSO or maybe a confidential secretary whom he does not know. He is going to choose whether it's relation or whoever that he trusts.
So you think that resignation has nothing to do with loyalty, but the standard operation that we're going to go?
It's about loyalty. This particular resignation is just about loyalty to that particular man and not the office of the governor. Now
the question there then is, if this is about loyalty to late Akeredolu, he hasn't been in office and you were there serving.
Yes.
And then as soon as he's passed on, you resign. If this is not fear that Lucky Aidatiwa, the now governor, was going to relieve them of their responsibilities or their duties, if that is not what it is, why would you want to step aside? Aidatiwa said yesterday that he is going to ensure that the project his predecessor, his late principal, had ongoing will be completed. Why would you not be interested in staying in the government built by your so-called father, fearless, so-called nice gentleman, if you may, to ensure that you play your role to ensure that Akeredolu's projects, at least to the end of his administration, to ensure that the things he has put in place also work, helping the man who is there. Now, if this is about loyalty, are you loyal to a man who is dead, and you're stepping aside from the things he committed into your hand while he was alive?
You see,
what is it really, Sam? Is it the fear that Aiyedatiwa was going to relieve them of their duties to replace them with anyone he chooses? Or is this loyalty? And I say again, if this is loyalty, it's becoming questionable. Why are you not in the system to ensure that what he committed into your hand sees the light of day? At least to ensure that Aiyedatiwa was, okay, this is what the governor said, this is how he wanted it and all of that.
What is the category of those people that are exiting the government? A chief press secretary cannot even dictate to the governor or the deputy governor. A senior special assistant to the governor cannot even dictate now to the governor that has been sworn in. You know, so essays cannot even dictate to the governor that was sworn in yesterday, because the governor has assumed that position and is acting under section 191 sub 1.
But he didn't sack them.
You understand?
But he didn't sack them.
They have to. That's what I'm telling you. That most of, if you know, the Nigeria political firmament is just like a witchcraft coven. A lot of things happen there. You know, people, according to stories, say they can fly.
How do you know what happened?
That is,
have you been in a witchcraft coven?
That is, we were told from my area, when we come to the area I come from, they told us that they said they can even fly there with granite, whatever.
on
broomstick, you know. So very.
If he loved him as much as you claim to have loved him, in his absence, at the point where he has passed on, he needed you the most. Isn't that the time where you're supposed to stay back and ensure that
that is what I'm asking?
The light of day?
I'm asking Nigerians now. What is the status of a chief press secretary?
Whatever it is,
governor?
I'm sure there was a role he was playing.
Can he compel a sitting governor to implement or continue the job of the ex-press, the late governor?
He could advise.
No, he cannot advise. They don't. That's why I say the Nigerian political whatever is just like witchcraft coven, as they say. So you see, a lot of things will happen. Some of them might moot that is because of loyalty to the late governor, but at the end of the day, some of them might even resign to go and pursue their political career. Mind you, elections are coming up next year in Ondo State for that governorship seat. 2 is that don't be shocked and surprised, because a deputy governor has to be nominated now. You know, by the constitution, under section 191, you know, going down, you know that the governor is sworn in once the governor that is there is dead, or maybe he resigned, it is as case maybe he was impeached. Automatically, deputy governor now becomes the substantive governor.
The state is poised to make history again. According to her, these are things that are always happening, but we are here to actually change conventional wisdom, and it's not actually what the people think. But again, you see this narrative of female coming to tell female to step down for a male aspirant. I think all these things are in the past. It has changed. She said, we propagated these, now who propagated these narratives? These are all social constructs that a particular subset of society will push. What do I mean? We have females being about 50% of our population. The sisterhood is very strong, and Edo State is unique because we produce the first elected female senator in the whole of Nigeria, and we are on the verge of making history again. We are going to produce the first elected female governor. The people of Edo right now are saying that they want something new, they want something fresh, they want to try something different. Are you an Edo man? Are you seated in this studio?
I'm so happy you are discussing my state today.
How much of a something new, something different do you people want in Edo State, and what are her chances?
You see, Edo State has been a state that is in a particular state of a flux that is very non-sweating. I would say non-sweating flux. Edo State is a state like motion without movement. If you've been to my state, you know, recently, you know that the governor of my state is developing my state on the pages of newspapers and on the screens of televisions, whatever, all over the place. That is why they call him the MOU governor. He has signed more than 5,000 MOUs. None has been implemented. All the MOUs he's signing to bring rubber plantation. Since 8 years he came into power, he's done it almost 8 years now. You know, we bring German companies to come and construct road, come and build the underground seaport, etc. as the case may be. None has been implemented. The roads in my state are dilapidated, especially vindictive politics that they play in Edo State, to the extent that Edo North, where we come from, the minority of the minorities, is being asphyxiated by governance in Edo State, to the extent that those of us from there find it difficult to even drive home during this Christmas period and the holidays that we have because of bad roads. You know, from Ekpoma or thereabout to my area in a particular is what we do at minimum speed. But you find you spend about 4 hours, 5 hours on the road. Bandits are taking over that portion of the road also. So there's lack of security everywhere, kidnapping going on, and the governor is junketing, as the case may be, playing, you know, high decibel acerbic politics, you know, here and there. And that is why he's saying that if Philip Shaibu cannot, you know, come and, you know, succeed him as governor. But thank God we have so many parties. In Edo State, a lot of people don't know, Labour Party is very strong in Edo State. The last election that was done in Edo State, Labour Party won the presidential for P2B with very high margin, defeating both PDP and APC, hands down, knocking them out. Now you find out that Edo has, you know, love for Labour Party. That's why you see this this lady and my good friend Olumide Akpata, my co-mate also, the immediate past president of the NBA, has even thrown his towel and say he's gone into the ring to say, I want to contest. He never chose PDP, he never chose APC. He chose Labour Party because he believes that is where he can espouse himself and expound his ideology. And he's there, he's very popular. Two, this Ogboko that came in, even though a stray and dark horse, but I am happy that a female has come into the fray. You know, nobody, you know, played her hair very well and, you know, go into the fray, and I wish her the best of luck, but I cannot predict what is going to happen. So, but let her win the ticket first. Whoever is able to win the ticket of the Labour Party in Edo State, then we'll now begin to talk another narrative from that point.
All right. And we wish everyone the best of luck.
Yes.
If doctor, she's a medical doctor, by the way.
Yes.
If Dr. Loretta Obako wins, awesome. Maybe we can, like you said, have the first elected female governor.
She was very careful using that word. You know why she was careful? That the first elected female, because we already have Vigilante Tiaba, who was not, she was elected alongside P2B anyway, but not as a governor, but as a running mate and deputy governor, as the case may be, who by virtue of Section 191 now became governor when the P2B was impeached in Anambra State. So elected, then the first female senator she's talking about is Senator Franca Afebua. That is the first Senate, you know, a woman from Nigeria. Very beautiful, you know, sister of ours, but she's late now. She did a lot to the women folk in our area.
Awesome. And the women will learn as strong women.
Yes.
But Governor Makinde came out to say that he's going back to court. Now, we are learning that the court that actually gave the ruling in 2021 is the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Is there a chance that if it's in line with what the Constitution says?
It's very, very rare. Even recently in the case of the Atiku Abubakar Obi and Bola Tinubu, the last presidential elections, the Supreme Court made it very clear that yes, they can reverse themselves, but it's very, very, very rare. There must be compelling reasons and evidences before they can reverse, you know, their judgment. I have never seen that happen more than I think once. I can't even picture when that happened. So what this Governor Makinde is doing is just the same, you know, political shenanigans, you know, and this kind of behavioral pattern that I stated before, that governors and presidents in Nigeria see themselves as monarchs as emperors, that you cannot touch them. Once they vote them into office, they can disobey you, they can arrest you, they can even send you to jail, they can even ask that you be eliminated. You know, so that is the way they see it. Otherwise, when the Supreme Court of the land, I cannot fathom where Supreme Court will give a verdict or a judgment, and you not go against that judgment in any sane and civilized democracy. I have never seen that happen. There will be consequences, as the case maybe, if you dare disobey, you know, court orders, not just court, that of the Supreme Court of the land, the highest court in the land, you face consequences. So, but with impunity, governors do not want to obey and execute, the judgment of the Supreme Court. It is because of the fact that we have very weak institutions. If not because we have weak institutions, the Nigerian police should be the ones to enforce all these things that we are doing. Under Section 287 sub 1, it says that every order, judgment, or whatever the Supreme Court has, made pronouncement by the Supreme Court shall be obeyed by all authorities and citizens of Nigeria. That is, if Supreme Court makes an order or gives a judgment or makes a pronouncement, as case may be, all institutions are not just to obey, but they are to join hands to execute that particular judgment of Supreme Court, because it's the highest court in the land. Now, if you remove, the fierce, caterpillar teeth of Supreme Court from, nibbling and cutting, grass as the case may be, then where lies justice? That the government will decide to say, court has given a judgment on this matter, I'm going back to the court. What are you going back to the court to do? Like Abbas election lawyers, rightly said, the Supreme Court said pay. The Supreme Court will not go back and say not pay.
And the interesting thing about the pay, let's really touch on that because of time. The judgment was 7-point-something billion.
Yes.
And for the sake of the states, they pleaded with them to agree to take 4.8.
4 point something.
And they agreed. And this same Makinde's government have already paid 1.5 billion.
Yes.
They agreed that was going to be paid in tranches. And now you're backing down on it. Disregard for the Constitution, disregard for court orders, disregard for now the Supreme Court's ruling by a man as learned as the man or the governor of Oyo State. What do you think we are looking at here?
The point is, it's just pure contempt of court.
But there are consequences for contempt of court.
There are consequences, but that's why I said we have very weak institutions. This is contempt, ex face curie, performed outside the court. Court has given a judgment and you don't want to obey it. You are dilly-dallying with it, even though you have enforced part of the judgment. You say you're not going to enforce the other one. You are going back to do what? I don't really know what is going back to do. For Supreme Court to interpret the judgment that they gave, that you have already made part payment of the amount of money.
You've already started obeying the
so you're just trying to deride the Supreme Court and maybe tap the Supreme Court, and they taunt the Supreme Court to say you can do me nothing. I am above you. I'm the governor of Oyo State. Nobody can challenge my authority.
And I have immunity.
I have the immunity. I can do anything, and even disobey you and go away. Nobody will talk to me. I'll be looking at you. If you want to.
Now, let's wrap up with this one, everyone. The National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Alhaji Umar Ganduje, noted with dismay the unwarranted crisis between the state leadership of the party and Governor Hyacinth Alia, as well as of the caucus of the National Assembly. This end, Ganduje has sued for unity while noting that the crisis led to recent call by Benue APC National Assembly members and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to intervene to save the platform from collapsing. Commissioning of the remodel, the secretariat of the party named as Tinubu House yesterday in Makodi, Benue State, stressed that unity is the only way the party can forge ahead and focus on development of the state. He said APC, as a custodian of a new agenda under President Tinubu, is working tirelessly to bring back Nigeria's lost glory, and this can be achieved through unity, and we cannot fold our hands and watch those who do not have the interests of the party at heart destroyed at how destroy our unity of purpose. We have decided to make the party active, hence we designed a blueprint offices from what local government, state and zonal levels to be functional. We are proud of Benue APC for this edifice. He said Benue is home of APC. APC went on sabbatical leave, but it is back in the state. Well, why commending leadership of the party for acquiring the befitting secretariat that houses different offices of the party? All right. And the members of the APC in Benue State seem to have reached to a head. From George Akume, the secretary to the federal government, and now to the National Assembly members, and jumping past the party national chairman, goes to the president, father of the nation, come and deliver us. We are dying in the hands of Reverend Hyacinth earlier. Ganduje painted a picture as, oh, this party is strong, fortified, we are running a new agenda and all of that. But look across the APC state to be the reality. Does he seem to get it, that there is need for him to do more as a national chairman of the party, beyond the media rhetorics?
Well, I appreciate APC and its hierarchy because they are better than PDP in terms of interventions. The chairman of APC, Ganduje, speaking on what is happening and solutions or how to tackle it. They have not, formed a committee of elders in Benue to go and run to the president and say, come and help us in our state, things are going bad. Then when the president now make his pronouncement, you say you don't like it, when you didn't think in the first instance. They are putting their house in order, because the crisis in APC in Benue State is just like the crisis in PDP in River State. The governor of the state, according to the reports we got, was that George Akume, was a godfather to him, and all members of the House of Assembly there are loyal to George Akume. Because Reverend Fidelis Alia, or whatever they call him, Alia as they call him, was a total stranger. He was even, sleeping with, he had strange bedfellows. Politician. He was a theologian, a theologian with the canticles of the Pope, liturgical personality. So you find out that he was on this side, whereas the politicians were on the other side. The Nigerian politicians are very, very brutal. If you look at how they operate, you know that they have no mercy for anybody that does not want to toe their line. So they have to